That's it. I'm here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 27th, 2025 Lenawee County Board of Commissioners meeting. I would ask everyone to please rise, and we will have an invocation offered by our county clerk, Roxanne Holloway, which she will follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather tonight, guide our thoughts and words. We pray for wisdom and clarity. May the decisions that are made honor you. Help us to put aside any personal agendas or differences and work together towards the good for our communities and our county, Lord. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And thank you, Clerk Holloway. Just a reminder, please silence your cell phones. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Ungst?
Here.
Commissioner Blanco? Here. Commissioner Collins?
Here.
Commissioner Daly?
Here.
Commissioner Krasny?
Here.
Commissioner Martis?
Here.
Commissioner Stimpson?
Here.
Commissioner Tillotson?
Here.
And Commissioner Van Doren?
Here.
9 present.
Approval of the minutes of March 12th, 2025 would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 12th.
Support.
Or
I have a motion by Commissioner Unk, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries, minutes are approved. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
If there are no amendments to the agenda, I would move that we accept the agenda as printed.
Support.
I have a motion for the agenda by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Martis. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. The agenda is approved. Petitions and communications. Commissioners. Thank you. Introduction of special guests.
I would advise the chairman that his wife is in the audience.
Thank you, Commissioner Krasny. Limited public comment. There's 2 areas of doing limited public comment. At this time, we only have one. It's for an item on the agenda. We have one that is signed up to speak tonight on the Tecumseh Products property. Just a reminder that public comment is limited to 3 minutes and does not provide an opportunity for a dialogue with the commissioners. It's an opportunity for you to state what you would like to tell the commissioners, and please state your name and where you're from when you come up. Roger Johnson on Tecumseh Products property.
Thank you, Chairman Van Doren. It's interesting that the first evening meeting follows one 3.5 years ago that was quite momentous. And it's also interesting and coincidental that some of the same topics are on the agenda as they were 3.5 years ago. That meeting and the outcome, the decision to purchase the Tecumseh Products site, has had sweeping impact on this body. If you consider that of the 8 people that voted to make that purchase, 5 are no longer seated. That change was affected by a lot of folks that weren't happy with that decision. But here we are 3.5 years later, still discussing that issue. My concern is that the taxpayers of the county financed that purchase on behalf of some ideas and thoughts that folks in Tecumseh had that was going to be a benefit to them. For whatever reasons, that didn't work out. But now, as we're saddled with the cost, the ongoing issues of maintaining that property and keeping it, Tecumseh still seems to have a need to be the final arbiter of what happens to that piece of ground. To give them a seat at the table as part of the discussion, certainly, it's in their backyard. But to give them yay or nay authority on what happens to that property disenfranchises the rest of us that own it. I'd urge you, as this discussion goes forward on what happens to that property, that we minimize our costs, we minimize our exposure, and if Tecumseh really wants to be the people that decide what happens to it, they need to own it. I'm sure, I would certainly think that this group would consider any reasonable offer from Tecumseh to put this property in their hands instead of ours collectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolutions and proclamations. We have a Public Safety Telecommunications Week resolution. We have Sheriff Revere with us this evening, along with Lieutenant Purdue, which will be offered by Commissioner Krasny. Would you like to come up, Sheriff and Lieutenant? Under Sheriff? All of the law enforcement that's here is welcome up, please.
Well, thank you. It's my distinct honor on behalf of the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners to read this proclamation in honor of these true American heroes that we hear so many stories about saving lives in this communities and so many communities like ours. Whereas public safety telecommunicators play a critical role in ensuring the safety and well-being of our community by responding to emergency calls, dispatching first responders, and providing vital assistance during critical situations. And whereas these dedicated professionals work tirelessly behind the scenes, often under immense pressure, to ensure that help is dispatched quickly and efficiently, making a direct impact on the lives of those they serve. And whereas the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 has been designated as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week to honor and recognize the invaluable contributions of these unsung heroes. And whereas the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners acknowledges the essential role that telecommunicators play in the safety and well-being of our citizens and expresses deep gratitude for their unwavering commitment to service. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Lenawee County in honor of their exceptional dedication and vital service in keeping our community safe. Passed by a roll call vote of the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners at a regular meeting held Wednesday, April 16th, 2025 in the Old County Courthouse, Adrian, Michigan. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Krasny, and supported by Commissioner Unks. Discussion. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tillotson.
yes,
Commissioner Van Doren.
Yes,
Commissioner Ungst.
Yes.
9 yeas.
resolution passes.
Thank you very much. I just want to turn this over to Lieutenant Purdue so that she can say a few things. Lieutenant Purdue's been in charge of the dispatch center since Lieutenant Ungst, now Commissioner Ungst, retired. And I tell you, our dispatchers are unbelievable. They do a phenomenal job. We're right now at the we're up to speed with all of our dispatchers. So we have 20, the amount that we're supposed to have, and they've been doing an outstanding job. So I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Purdue.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm so fortunate to have a great group of people to work with that are so dedicated to their profession and serving the citizens of Lenawee County. And I'm so proud to be in this position. Commissioner Ungst left a huge, lots of shoes to fill and prepped me for the position. And I'm, again, just very proud. And I want to say thank you to them for their service and their sacrifice. And also thank you to the Board of Commissioners for recognition.
Always a fun part of the job to be able to make those recognitions. We have some board appointments, reports to make that were held since the last meeting. First one will be the Emergency 911 District Board by Commissioner Collins.
Well, we're fortunate to have the people from 911 board here in case I mess this up, but the 911 board met on the 13th of March. There was a discussion about the Clemis system interfacing with the CAD system. And if I know about this from my background, but if you don't understand, I'd rather we bring Corinne back up here to explain this than I. Clemis is the record system management for this, actually, Mr. Ungst explained it better. This allows an interface with the CAD system so officers on the road are able to bring up quick rather than having to go through the base unit. We have in front of us a request, and I will get to that shortly. We completed the core technologies agreement. That's what supplies the NCI's, the National Crime Information Center system for the dispatch center. There will be a 5% increase per annum for 5 years until that contract is completed. This one's a little more complicated. Lucas County Radio, they're applying for authentication, which requires Lenawee County to have dual authentication. And in doing so, it's going to require updates on the radios, which is going to have a cost to us. We're not yet sure of what these costs nor when they will be. Beyond that, we have an action request. It's a request for the HVAC system to have a backup system in the dispatch center. As you know, sometime back in the summer went down. Commissioner Ungst, were you still there at the time when the HVAC system went down?
Yes.
You might want to explain better how the impact it had than I.
I mean, it went down, I don't know about recently, but when it's went down before, when that goes down, they have to run fans in there. It gets really hot. And of course, you know, fans bring noise. It's very important that they have a HVAC system that is working properly. Yeah, they're in there 24/7.
In addition to the fan system and the heat for the employees themselves, if it gets too hot, there's a danger to the the system itself malfunctioning, parts having a problem. So I would so move for the approval of the HVAC system backup for the dispatch center.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Collins, supported by Commissioner Ungst. Discussion. Yes, I believe it was last summer, wasn't it, that the system went down, and it was down for how long? And they were in there for a week. No ventilation. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried and approved. That's it, Commissioner Collins?
That's it.
Questions for Commissioner Collins? Thank you, Terry. Lenawee Transportation, Commissioner Tillotson.
Well, all is well. The last 2 months, total amount of people rode in January was 5,372, and then in February, 5,142. So there's a lot of people riding. It's a nice situation for those people that don't have a way to travel, licenses, cars available to move, so. But everything is pretty good, outside of a good big cut.
Good. Questions for Commissioner Tillotson? Commissioner Martis?
Does the service run 7 days a week or just during the week, or
Just during the week,
so on average, well over 200 people a day are using the
yes,
system?
yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ralph. Parks Commission, Commissioner Tillotson?
Yeah. Parks Commission met on the third Monday. Was a short meeting, but during that meeting, the deputy superintendent shared some highlights about the monthly report. Currently, the parks are closed. They talked some about the musical instrument project at Gerber Park, which will begin to be placed as soon as spring really springs. Just a little too cold to work on the parks, but
We're getting closer.
it's getting close, yes. Very short meeting. That was pretty much all that happened.
Questions for Commissioner Tillotson? Thank you, Ralph. One final one, Commissioner Tillotson, Planning Commission.
Region 2 Planning Commission met on Thursday, a week ago. And the main thing in that meeting was a workforce development. And they showed a short movie type situation. Randy Agala and Chuck Chase shared that together, and it's for people that don't want to go to college for 3-4 years. They bought the building that's just south of Veterans Park, and they're working on it and redoing it. Probably will be opened in the next month. So, had a nice meeting.
And that's the Aligned Talent Center, right?
Yes.
Questions? Commissioner Martis?
Just a comment on the Align Center. Commissioner Daly and I, and I'm sure many others, have had a chance to take a tour there. And I'm impressed with what they're offering to the community. I think it's a wonderful thing, and they've done a good job putting that whole thing together. Of course, it was funded, I think, in part by some state money and so forth. And I tell a lot of my constituents, including some of my own progeny, if you're struggling to find direction, there's going to be a place where you can they can bring you the resources you need. So,
Right. Yeah, that center coming on board goes back a good number of years, Ralph. I think you remember we were talking about this 15 years ago about having some training for our students to keep them here in Lenawee County afterwards. Everyone's not made to go to college or wants to go to college, and there's good paying jobs in the trades. And so that's what they're going to be doing, is working with our local communities to make sure that they get training, so they're providing a talent pool for our companies to keep them here and to keep our students here. Commissioner Krasny?
I think a big point to the Line Center is that they're working with employers that are currently here that have needs to fill those needs. Some career tech centers, and I've toured the Line Center now twice, just train people on hypothetical jobs where the Line Center will actually work with employers in our area to say, this is what we need, and get these people directly put in touch with the employer. So it's very exciting times.
Correct. And in addition to that, if a new company comes in and is looking to locate here, they can take them over to the Line Center and say what kind of training they're going to need, and we can start doing the training that encourages them to come here, because they'll have the talent pool all made for them. So Commissioner Collins?
Well, I represent the west side of the city of Adrian. I was born and raised on the east side of the city of Adrian. I'm just so impressed that a project such as this is on the east side of the city of Adrian.
Any other questions? Thank you, Commissioner Tillotson. Unfinished business? Anybody have any unfinished business? New business, we have a request for the Wayland Platform Fleet Tracking Contract with the Sheriff's Department. So Sheriff, would you like to give us a little update there? Or whomever?
Well, I'll come up and give the 30,000 view, and then this gentleman, my captain, will give kind of answer any questions, the real workers. So
It's all about delegation.
yes. Back when we had Enterprise, we were looking at doing telematics and being able to get the information out of our vehicle. That didn't work like we wanted it to. However, Wayland, just like everything else, technology is evolving so quickly. Wayland, who does our sirens and a lot of our outfitting for our vehicles, they have the ability to do it now. And so what this is the ability to be able to track our fleet, be able to know exactly how many miles are on the vehicles, be able to know what kind of condition they're in, et cetera. So I'm going to turn this over and let the captain speak a little bit more intelligently about it.
So 3 years ago, Wheelan came to us with an offer to provide this system to us for free for 3 years as a demo agency. We recommended improvements, things that, man, it'd be really nice if it would do this, it'd be really nice if it did that. They've listened to everything we've asked for and given more. And now we can monitor oil changes on the vehicles, which in the past was based on human performance. Sometimes they go 2,000-3,000 miles over. It now has the ability to communicate to each other. So if you have two responding vehicles coming to an intersection, it'll start sending off alarms in the car saying you're coming too close to each other. We can track where our vehicles are during their shift. So if we have a rash of braking and enterings, we can go back and see if we had any cars in the area. Maybe they saw something that just didn't register at the time. So it's quite advanced, but we've been a lead agency to help them develop this product. And it's very instrumental in helping us with that.
The other thing it does is if you have a newer vehicle with an infotainment system in it, you may have come across a crash, and before you even get to it, you get an alert that emergency vehicles are ahead, whether it's a traffic stop or a crash. This is what makes that possible.
Yes. So it's partnering with Waze or Waz, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it will actually upload to that platform if somebody's using that as their GPS for driving. They're currently working with MDOT that as a emergency vehicle comes up on an intersection, it will actually run the lights, recognizing that you're coming close to it. We can put up a geo fence around our upfitters location and the sheriff's office for software updates too. So it can wirelessly upload software updates or diagnose a problem with the equipment.
Questions for Commissioner Collins?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but having been in law enforcement, one of the benefits I see of this as a vehicle locator, while the dispatchers do a yeoman's job of keeping track of their cars and who's where and when, if you have an officer that's at a scene and he's there an exceptionally long time, that system will make people aware you've got a car that he's been there too long. Get some support there. Am I correct?
This system does not. We have a backup through the Axon, but what this one does, it lets us go back and look and see if a community member were to call in and say, hey, your car was here too long.
Well, it'll show that time though. Okay.
Yes, it will. It doesn't send the alerts to dispatch.
Well, not to alert. It'll say that.
Yes, it will.
Is there a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Collins, supported by Commissioner Martis. Any other questions or discussion? Commissioner Martis?
I'd just add, since we have a large turnout here tonight, and thank you for those of you who have taken time to come to this experimental night meeting. It may look like these votes are a little perfunctory, but I want you to be aware that all these proposals, expenditures have been vetted at one, if not two other committees before they've made it here to this point in the process. So, and of course, we read all these things and study them before we come to the meeting. So just want to be aware of that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried, contract approved. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for your service. Tecumseh Product Site. We put this on the agenda tonight because, as it was stated here earlier, some 3 years ago, that's the decision made to purchase the property was done at a night meeting, and we wanted to make sure we haven't had many updates on this. We just have a discussion tonight, especially with new commissioners here, and see if there's any questions. We have a video that will show the property to you. It's 57 acres in the heart of the city of Tecumseh. And this is what the property looks like right now. It's, we're headed south right now, right, Dan?
That's north, actually. City there. Yes. And I would point out the structure on the right is mainly the Orbitech building, which is the newest structure, plus part of the older structure on the left.
And there's some, how many acres of concrete?
Roughly 14 acres of concrete. Our property does not go across the street on the north end there.
And so with that, we'd open it up to any questions that, or any comments commissioners may have, and especially the new commissioners as we continue our efforts to see how we're going to move forward with this property. Commissioner Stimson.
Is there a chance to back that up a little bit for the people?
Okay, could you use your mic?
It's on. Can you back it up to where you reach Potawatomi Street? Just the southern edge of the property? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right, keep going one more, right there, stop. Yep, just pause it right there for a sec. For those who don't know, this section is held privately by a company that just got about $5 million in RAP funding from the state grants. And they're building a housing development project right there. And that is scheduled to start this year. That's done by Cambridge, Garrett and Megan Stevenson and Garrett. Megan Porter was her maiden name. She married Mark Stevenson. I've known her very well, but no problems. Keep interrupting me, please. They're the individuals who have purchased this and for the last 3 years have been working on the grants aspects. So that'll be a new commercial district and residential areas that you see right there. And that's something that the city's worked diligently to get accomplished. There hasn't been any development in this area in a long, long time. The product's moved out. Its headquarters, Dan, 15, 20 years ago-ish. There isn't any usable space in that Orbitech building. There isn't any even electrical that's left in that building. It's a swimming pool if it rains, so it's not really valuable for any aspects of that. So just so you're aware that that's one of the things that's going to be happening in the near future here with those two investors. They're Megan's from the area. Her and her husband Mark are from the area. Gareth is from up by Brighton, but Cambrian Senior Living out on the west side of town is one of their investments.
Good to know. So also, we've had a meeting with the people of Tecumseh. I appointed a special committee to meet with the people at Tecumseh and over this piece of property. The committee is the chairman of the board, the vice chairman, chairman of Ways and Means, and Commissioner Stimson, because it's within his district, along with the administrator, and I don't know if the assistant or vice administrator just comes along, or is she on it? Yeah. And so we've had one meeting, and I've also just recently talked to the city manager, and we're going to be meeting with them again here in the very near future because they've had some activity on some things that are going on in the property. And I don't know if the administrator from Tecumseh, or city manager, excuse me, from Tecumseh's here, and I don't know, Dan, if you wanted to say anything or. Sorry, didn't mean to put you
Chairman
on the
and
spot.
Commissioners, yeah, Dan Swallow, City Manager for the City of Tecumseh. Yeah, absolutely. Just to highlight, we actually got building plans in today for the project, the north there for the old administration building. So we're excited about that project moving forward. And as was mentioned, there's some state funding behind that as well. They have some recent success. The Tecumseh Products Company is on site continuing to clean up. So there's still some groundwater contamination on the site that needs to be addressed. And they actually ran their first year cycle and things are improving. So I think we're seeing some improvement there, so that obviously that would improve the development potential for the site as well. So looking forward to our meeting to discuss further. And city does want to be a partner in obviously moving the site. We realize the county can't hold it, indefinitely, and we need to have a plan in place to move it to a more productive and tax generating site. So support that idea and look forward to working with the commission on that.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager? Thank you, Dan. Any comments or questions from commissioners, new commissioners? Commissioner Blanco?
Yeah, it's just a comment that I realize that a lot of people that are here now weren't involved in the purchasing of the property, but I would just suggest that we consider making some type of a policy about having an appraisal done before purchase of any property. Or just, best practices, standard of operation, and that's just a comment. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Ungst?
How many acres did you say?
57.
57 acre, okay.
Okay, that's Commissioner Martis.
Just a couple thoughts. I'm glad we're bringing this forward. It's been a big concern of mine. I reread the appraisal report today in preparations for the meeting. One of the points the appraisal report made was that really the chief thing of value there is, in fact, the Orbitec building. Said that property with a small parcel around it would be worth $370,000. The entire property was $440,000. The only interest we've had from several different sources is in that structure. And my concern is over time it decays and will continue to decay. If we're to redeem value there, we're going to need to find a way to responsibly market it and perhaps grab onto some of the value from that structure. The other risk there, and I've consulted with several independent contractors over the last 2 years, is the cost to remove that concrete and the water tower and the chimney that's there is millions of dollars. And absent some large pool of money, at some point we would be on the hook to do something with these things. And it's still my understanding that property needs to be capped so that the water doesn't still flow through it and perhaps drive contamination off site. As much as I share Mr. Swallow's interest in seeing the subsurface water to be cleaned up, it's only part of the problem. And the visible debris is a much more substantial problem. And any offer on the property, if we were to market it the next year, will bake into the cake the fact that the subsurface cleanup will continue. So there's no loss to begin to market it sometime in the future, because any buyer will take that into account when they continue to pursue it. And secondly, while I know there's some residential development planned for the north side, if you continue and look around the property, you realize it's almost all commercial and industrial surrounding it, except in the northwest corner. So it's been industrial. The odds are it will need to be industrial or something along that lines. And rereading the appraisal report, it's my understanding there's deed restrictions that nothing of a residential nature can go on this property. So the longer it sits, in my opinion, as just one of 9 here, the odds of the value decreasing continue. And we can still look at other comparable properties in the area without the blight, without the brownfield determination, that are selling for much more economical prices than the cost of just simply cleaning up what's on this site. So I hope we can look at a reasonable plan to move forward and get this back on the tax rolls and make it productive.
Thank you. And that's part of the district that I represent too, in my meetings going out to, with the district. The people have asked about where we're going with the Tecumseh Products property. And the concern is that with the water tower and the building, the Orbitech building that's there, you know, the longer that this goes on and nothing's happening, we all know what happens when it's an unoccupied piece of property, how it deteriorates more rapidly. And so that's the concern of the people in my district and what we're going to do with this property. So anybody else? This is an informational session, so unless anybody has any further, we're going to move on. Commissioner Krasny.
I think we definitely owe it to the fine people of Tecumseh and the Lenawee County taxpayers to move forward, to create a plan, to have a vision for this property that makes sense for all residents of Lenawee County. And I think that this commission over the last few years has failed to do that. And I think we need to get it together and work with the people of Tecumseh and put it up for sale or what have you. But it's time we get this county moving forward.
I think as we get together with the people with Tecumseh here in the near future, in one of the evening meetings coming forth, we'll come back and report and see where we want to go with this after we have a conversation there to see how we're doing. So, okay. Thank you, everyone. Lenawee Now contract I put on the agenda. As everyone knows, some time ago, we quit doing business with Lenawee Now. They're the premier economic development unit organization in Lenawee County, and they're pretty well recognized throughout the state and nationally. And now with what's going on in economic development, bringing business here, and especially the new housing push that's going on, I think it's time that we take another look. We quit doing business with them, financing them some time ago, some number of years ago, and I would like to appoint a special committee of the vice chairman, chairman of Ways and Means, and the administrator to work with Lenawee Now on a potential contract to the future. And I would entertain a motion to approve that committee.
So move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Discussion, Commissioner Stimson.
Have they provided an audit?
No.
Because that's why we stopped doing business with them when we voted 9-0 for an audit.
We'll see if that goes forward. And
So they're going to provide an audit?
we'll see if that goes forward with the discussion of the new contract, if that'll be part of it.
It's a non-starter for my district. They want to know where the money for the taxpayers is going.
Okay.
And that's why they voted no, and that's why I heard for them to say no, as are many others. So I'm sure we'll discuss that when that comes up.
Sure we will. Commissioner Collins.
Is this commission going to give this subcommittee any direction? Or is this subcommittee of themselves going to make a recommendation on a contract?
No, they're going to come back to here. They're going to report back
There
here.
would be no direction ahead of time.
Pardon me?
There will be no commission direction ahead of time. This board is not going to give that committee any kind of direction as to what we're looking for and what we want.
Well, hopefully that committee will discuss it with the commissioners, and the commissioners can discuss it with those committee members.
I mean, this is
Commissioner
where,
Martis.
And I would say that any commissioner can reach out to any of us at any time on any of these issues and tell us the things they would hope to see in this negotiation. I got to say, even though we have not funded Lenawee Now, as long as I've been a commissioner, whenever I've needed anything from economic development work of any kind or things in my district, Pat and Tim and Randy have been available, and they've done very good work and hard work, and it's never been an issue so far. And the things they're bringing to MAC and to Zealand Farm Services and Adrian Blissfield Railroad and the other entities that work in a community, they're always there and they're always available. But secondly, as we talk about Housing North and we get a persistent push from people in the community for affordable housing, Housing North is an entity in the Traverse City area that's been effective in attracting grant money and so forth to increase the supply of low-income housing. I've been very public about how I don't think that's a great fit for county government, But Lenawee now is working on exactly such an initiative and creating a new entity to do exactly that now. And I think it's a very cost-effective way for us to look at creating a new relationship with them as we pursue those kinds of things, which are absolutely mission central to what we've been talking about here for the last few years.
And additionally, and thank you for that, Commissioner Martis. Additionally, they're the ones that spearheaded this Aligned Talent Center to keep our students here and to train them in the trades. So they've been very active in the economic development side of it. So there is an audit, Commissioner Stimson. I think you're referring to the forensic audit that we talked about, but they have furnished an audit over every year that we've done business with them. So.
No.
That's not accurate.
Not accurate. We have not seen an audit. Now, you can talk about bookkeeping till you're blue in the face. And anybody can come up here and look at the papers that are on my desk. It isn't an audit. It just tells about the sections in which they're working. It's not an audit. And most every piece of this county that we get an audit. We're having an audit of the county. We're having an audit on mental health. It goes on and on and on. I'm on several of them committees. People, you need to have an audit. And if you can't, audit's the best piece of news you can have. Because if they clear that audit, everything is hunky-dory. Everything is right and ready. But with a warmed over situation on their activities for the year is not an audit.
Okay, let me back up here. Administrator Murphy, do we have an audit from Lenawee now?
Back when we decided not to do the funding, I did reach out to Lenawee Now and I asked for their finance statements from 2017 to current because we did not have them. They were not provided to us on a regular basis. So we do have them for those years.
But you
From
have an actual audit from an auditing firm.
I have their finance statements from their, the person who prepared their finance statements, their auditor.
It's a difference between an audit and a financial statement.
Commissioner Stimson.
And we're gonna, this is really just merely to go have a subcommittee appointed. So I don't want to get too afoul here of what we're talking about, but what they have provided in the past is not a comprehensive audit. And every single person who's ever sat, and all of us here do, sit on nonprofit boards, and they claim to be a nonprofit agency. They're audited by the federal government, they're audited by the state government. Everybody who ever gives them funds usually has the string of an audit attached to it. We sat here 3 years ago, approximately, no, maybe more like 2 years ago. And we asked the same question. And the director of the agency said, no problem, I'll give you an audit. Stood right at that podium. 2 days later, they retracted and recanted and refused. They did not want to do business with us because they didn't want to provide an audit. Period. Ralph is correct. The best thing they could do to put this to bed would just do the audit. Just show where the money for the taxpayers is going, how it's being sent, how it's being cycled through, so they understand what they're spending it on. But if they don't do that, it just raises more questions for me. And it should for all of you. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to represent the people who pay taxes. To be stewards of that. And if you're going to give money, I mean, money 10 times what we're spending on Tecumseh products in an annual year, 10 times what you're going to be ever spending on that kind of uptake of that place. You should have some clarity about what that money is being spent on through an independent financial audit.
Tecumseh Products property is over $2 million.
Tecumseh Products property is about 10 grand a year for mowing. The expenditure that occurred to buy it is long since go, and it's been in the past. Not just one cycle ago, but 2 cycles ago. We can't unring that bell. So the ongoing upkeep costs of that are about $10,000 a year in mowing. The last time we funded Lenawee Now, it was $150,000 a year.
Commissioner Martis.
Well, the discussion about now requiring an audit from actually 3 commissioners who've sat here far longer than I have, sat here while funding Lenawee now for many years, while never once demanding an audit then. And only now suddenly as that becomes an issue, I'm sorry, leaves a sour taste in my mouth. If it's a bedrock principle, why did these same folks now insisting on an audit not require one for all the many years previous where we funded them without issue? I'm sorry, it's unreasonable. They did furnish audit documents for many years. They weren't made available till the day after the vote. That's a matter of public record. I don't want to relitigate this entire thing, but I guess I made my point. The audit was never an issue until there was a sudden vote out of the blue to defund Lenawee now, directly in response to them coming out, having serious questions about the financial viability of Project Phoenix. It's all a matter of public record.
Commissioner Collins.
But to say this statement requiring ours that it was a action out of the blue is a misstatement. That is not true. The decision and the vote was done after study by several individuals. But I have a question here that if we talk about bedrock principles, we're hearing those people who are going to be on this committee sounding to me like they're already committed. They're already made their mind up what we're going to do. Why the hell are we having this committee? Why do it if we're sending 2 people out that have already made up their mind? That's like saying, all right, I'm going to referee a football game and I'm going to make sure Team A wins. I just can't buy it.
Perhaps we should set up a committee of people opposed to it then.
Commissioner, we're under the 2-limit rule, so you've had your 2. Okay, so we have a motion and support to form this committee, let this committee go meet with Lenawee now and bring the recommendation back to us. All those in favor signify by saying.
Roll call vote, please.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Daly.
Yes.
Commissioner Krasny.
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson.
No.
Commissioner Tillotson.
No.
Commissioner Van Doren.
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Public comment. We have a number of people that have asked to speak under public comment tonight. Sandy Brissett. So Sandy, you know the 3-minute limit, and just state your name and where you're from and what you'd like to.
Good evening. My name is Sandy Brissett. I'm from Tecumseh. And I can't tell you how nice it is to come to a commissioners meeting in the evening. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to us. This gives the public a chance to see what it is that you do. So many people don't know what functions you have in our county government. And it's really, really important for us to be able to teach those people what it is you do so that they know where to go when they have a question. Can I go to my commissioner? Yes, absolutely. Do I go to somebody else? Yes, absolutely. There's a place now where they can go and find out what's going on and get answers. And for that, I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry LeMay.
My name is Sherry LeMay. I live on Forester Road, just off of Wolf Creek Road in Adrian Township. And thank you again for the 6 o'clock time. I'm working and living with a lot of children. I have a lot of responsibilities, and this is so much better time for me. I'm very happy. I haven't come for a couple of years because I have been busy, but I did come during the Tecumseh project. And at that time, it made no common sense to me. It still doesn't. But so I'm going to be letting people know that we're discussing this again. And I'm going to bring as many people as possible to every one of your meetings so everybody in this township can know and city can know and county can know what's going on. Because it is something that needs really good attention. It still makes no sense to me, but thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Hopefully you've seen improvements in the acoustics and the audio visual equipment over the years. Dorothy Schmidt would like to discuss the Adrian City Band. Dorothy.
Thank you very much for calling a meeting. It is helpful to get to know who is in charge of all the things that are going on in the county, and most of us have never met you before. But we gathered together to ask the Lord's blessing. And we have 3 community events going. In April, I belong to Lenawee County course. And our spring concert is this year at the First Methodist Church in April. You'll see advertisements. I played the flute as a child in grade school and have joined Adrian City Band since I have lived in Adrian. So I've been with them about 15 years. We gathered together again in April to get ready for our first concert in June. And the third one is the 4th of July. We have extended the Lenawee County birthday to the 4th of July with the day before and the day after, concentrating on that anniversary. It has been an exciting and very informative event to study the county history with the Adrian County Museum. And I appreciate all your efforts. I hope to get to know you better, and we can solve problems collectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Any other public comment? Don't have any other sheets here, but commissioner comments. Oh, please.
Mary Roberts, City of Adrian Commissioner, and I live in the City of Adrian. I want to thank Dorothy for bringing up it's the City of Adrian bicentennial, not exactly the Lenawee County, but I didn't anticipate talking about it tonight, but I just wanted to be clear on that as the bicentennial chair. So it will take place July 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th here in the City of Adrian. We also have many partners, one of them being the Adrian City Band and the Lenawee Chorus, which will take place on Thursday. We have lots of events going on those 4 days and would love to invite everyone up here and everyone in the audience to come and enjoy celebrating Adrian's 200th birthday. All the information's on the City of Adrian's website, so hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other public comment?
Victoria Powell, Madison Township. 3 years ago, the newspaper said that the last evening meeting was in 2021, October. And it was at that time, I believe, that the Phoenix project was discussed. Soon after, the Board of Lenawee County Commissioners spent $2.3 million to purchase this contaminated brownfield. Over the course of the last 3 years, they have spent, to my estimation, and I haven't checked my notes for a while, at least $200,000 to either provide liability insurance for a demolition of some things, I believe, and other expense. So we're now up to spending the taxpayers' money, $2.5 million, for a piece of property that the board in, I believe, 2 years ago said we are not going to allow any buyer who wants to put or conduct industrial, make this property an industrial sect, I guess you would say. We're not going to have it. That happened here. So I have attended most of the meetings and I'm just was curious to see what you were going to say about an upkeep or, update, I guess you would say. But look, you spend our money. So the the Board of Lenawee County Commissioners spends the taxpayers' money for people who live in this county. You have spent $2.5 million for a piece of property that you are now saying you're going to reconsider or that you've got to get rid of it. Well, yes, you could have thought about that when you failed to get an assessment of this property before you paid $2.5 million. I have to wonder about this issue with the Lenawee Now contract. Dave Stimson is quite right that Lenawee Now refused to submit an audit whereby they would then get the $150,000 a year from this county to maintain their business. And now I hear you say today that you're going to renew or extend or reactivate perhaps the talk for a contract. But where's the audit? I look forward to hearing how this develops because you can be quite sure that I, as a taxpayer, will be following this. But you're spending our money and it's only fair that as a business, you would look into the issues, inform the public, make fair and reasonable decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Commissioner comments? And Commissioner Ungst.
So, and listening to some of the public comments and talking about the property at Tecumseh, I do think it's time that we put that in the forefront. I think we need to do something with that quickly. It has cost a lot of money so far and where's the plan of where we're going forward? So I would hope that when you're meeting with Tecumseh, that kind of moves along quickly.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Ungst. Any other commissioner comments?
I move we adjourn.
No, just 1 minute, please.
Any comments?
Announcements. I have one announcement. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of it, but Commissioner Ungst was recently recognized by the Addison School Systems for, his success over the years and his career. And what he's done with both the fire department, the sheriff's department, and other areas, and his dedication for community service. So congratulations, Commissioner Ungst. Any other announcements?
I withdraw my motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis to adjourn. Is there support?
Support.
I have support by Commissioner Blanco. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone who's attended this evening. It's nice to see everyone. Hope to see you again. The next evening meeting will be in June, the fourth Thursday in June at the same time, 6 o'clock.